This is Jared Pierce with Modern Cooperage, just here today to discuss about how to get barrels ready for use, right? So maybe we met at a trade show, maybe you saw our videos online, or maybe you had a friend who's using the barrel, but now you have barrels of your own. So how do we go from getting a fresh barrel that just arrived to now getting it ready to be used, and how we're going to be using it in the winemaking and distilling process? And now I just want to take a moment to talk about the accessories, just so when I use these terms, you know exactly what we're talking about. This here is the stir handle. This is the tool that you'll be using to take the door on and off, and this will also be the tool that you'll be using to stir the barrels. This is the micro-oxygenation membrane. This is what you're going to be putting on the 2-inch triclover bung, and this is what you're going to be using if you want to incorporate breathing into your aging protocol. This is the micro-oxygenation membrane cover. This is what acts as almost the umbrella or the shield to protect the micro-oxygenation membrane during the aging process. This is a standard 2-inch triclover stainless steel cap, and this is the gasket to go with it. This is the Stave carousel lock. You'll be using this in barrel filling and barrel racking, and really any time you want to lock the carousel in a specific position. And these are the plastic saddles that go on the stainless steel rack. They're really easy to replace, and they're really cost effective. So if you happen to chip one or break one or crack one, no problem. Just go ahead and remove it. We can ship you a new one, and you can have it on in a matter of seconds. All right, so first thing, the barrel has now arrived. It's wrapped securely in cardboard. It is very, very well protected. So it's either going to be coming 6 on a pallet, it might be coming 2 on a rack, or maybe it's just a single on a pallet. So we're going to go ahead and just unwrap this barrel and get started. And so now that we have the barrel unwrapped, we're going to need to go through getting it onto the rack. We're going to go through sanitation and really getting the whole thing prepped. So for now, let's go ahead and get the rack ready so we can put the barrels on. Perfect. So now you can see that we have the rack ready. It has the plastic saddles that are already on the rack, which is going to really help to protect the barrel. This is a really important step, and that's what makes the rack so important in protecting the Modern Cooperage barrel. So now we're going to go ahead and get the barrels loaded up on the rack before we go off and get them all cleaned up and ready to go. Now you can see we've got 2 barrels already on the rack and ready to go. So let's go ahead and take off the door here so we can take a look on the inside. I can show you about hand sanitizing and cleaning before we go ahead and take it into the barrel washer. So now you can see the tool that I'm using is this stir handle, and the stir handle actually not only stirs the barrel, but it actually is the same tool to unlock the door. So you can see here, I'm just go ahead and remove the door using the tool. I can finish it by hand, and now I'm going to go ahead and reach in and pop the door out. And now we'll go ahead and take a look on the inside and show you how we can do a little bit of prep cleaning by hand. So typically I like to kind of come in first with either a pressure washer or even just a low pressure garden hose and just rinse anything out. You might have little bits of cardboard or anything from the manufacturing process that we're just going to get out now. This is also a great way to get lees out. Let's say if you're racking, first racking of your barrel, and you've got gross lees on the inside. It's a great way to just get those lees out before we move into the sanitation phase. Now for sanitation, there's a lot of different methods that our clients use to sanitize the barrels. Most common method is probably steam. Steam and temperature is a really great way to sanitize the barrel. Secondly, you are able to use ozone. So low pressure ozone is another great way of sanitizing the barrel and getting it ready for use. We also have other clients that will even scrub by hand with a scrubber, and they'll do maybe a three-stage wash. Or even do under low pressure with just a barrel washer. Just go ahead and circulating and recirculating, whether it's proxycarb and citric and water or whatever your 3-phase cycle, cleaning cycle might look like. And a couple other tools. You could use the aqua tools, the high pressure washing barrel mechanisms, but what we're going to use here at our facilities, we have a Tom Beard automatic barrel washer. So this is actually really simple. We'll just go ahead and lift the rack up with the barrels on it and set it on the machine, and it's just going to go ahead and run the cycle for us. Many different tools can be used to sanitize the barrel, whether you're using Tom Beard or using pressure washer hooked up into your barrel washer, or if you're doing low pressure, just recirculation of water. All 3 different methods can be used, and also by hand, to go ahead and get the barrel sanitized and ready to go. And just a side note, if you are using steam, just please be aware that the barrel does get very hot. So do give it a little bit of time to cool off before you go over and grab it to spin it upside down or to do any movements. But now that our barrel is washed and ready, it's been cleaned, it's been sanitized, we got to go ahead and let it dry out a little bit. So we're just gonna go ahead and flip it upside down and let it dry out, and then we're gonna go ahead and get some staves put in. So again, we're gonna go ahead and remove the door to allow us access to the stave carousel where we're gonna be loading in our staves. What we're gonna be loading in right here is these really beautiful Modern Cooperage French oak 17mm staves. This is what I actually like to use on my Napa cab. Since I'm actually doing 100% new French oak on this cab, I'm loading up all 20 staves. But this is up to you in this moment, whether you're gonna load up 5 staves because you maybe need less oak, or maybe you're putting in concrete, but this is where you get to choose the exact amount of oak that you want specific to this barrel. Now that the staves are loaded up, let's go ahead and get the door put back on and sealed up, and then we'll get into the filling phase. Again, the same tool that we use to stir the barrel and also remove the door is how we're gonna crank the door down. So let's go ahead and make sure that it's nice and tight and snug. Okay, now we're ready to fill the barrel up. So it's the same exact tools that you'd be using to fill a traditional oak barrel, but we're just gonna be using it on our barrel. The important thing when filling the barrel is make sure that you pay attention to the nomenclature that's on the nut on the face of the barrel, as well as it's on the stir handle tool. It's going to identify where position 1 and position 2 are, and it's important that 1 or 2 be vertical, so that way the hole that goes through the center of the shaft in the stave carousel is exposed so that your filling wand can go all the way down and pass through the shaft and reach the bottom of the barrel. Now keep in mind, this barrel is 75 gallons, so make sure you did the math right, because you will need less Modern Cooperage barrels than your traditional barrels. So just double check your math to make sure that we have enough barrels prepared. Now that you have your barrel filled up, let's talk about how to close the barrel up. Are we doing a reductive style of Sauvignon Blanc or maybe Chardonnay where we don't need to use the membrane? Go ahead and use the stainless steel cap and gasket to just go ahead and seal that up. If you are doing, let's say, a bigger red or a wine that maybe tends to get more reductive, go ahead and put on the micro-oxygenation membrane and the cover. The cover is really critical to keeping the membrane clean and protected. So if somebody overfills the barrel above it, it doesn't drip down onto the membrane. And if somebody sprays it with a hose, the membrane is protected. And the next thing is temperature control. So for those of you interested in connecting the barrel to glycol or hot or cold water, just know that it is a standard MPT thread, and that's how you'll be doing the connections. And again, we will be going into a deeper dive into this topic on our temperature control video, so keep an eye out for that when it gets released. And let's talk about stirring the barrel. So for spirits, agitation, it really is up to you on how often you want to stir, you want to agitate for your own process. But for winemaking, this is a really easy way to manage your lees, to build body, to build that mid palate, to get manoproteins and polysaccharides into your wine without actually opening the barrel up. So the same tool that we took the door on and off with is going to be the same tool that we're going to be stirring the barrel with. And as you can see, we can stir it with ease. It's really, really easy to do, and it'll save you a ton of time during harvest when your team is running around stirring barrels. Okay, now that we've had our wines on lees, they're done fermenting, let's just go ahead and go through a racking. The same tools that you'll be using in a traditional oak barrel are the same tools that you'll be using in our barrel as well. Just again, make sure that you pay attention to the nomenclature on the nut of the barrel, as well as on the stir handle, to make sure that we're in position 1 or position 2, the same as when we were filling the barrel. You can also use our stave carousel lock that locks the carousel in place in both position 1 or position 2, which allows you to get your barrel set up on the cellar floor to be ready to be racked, but it's already locked in place in the correct position. That'll save you some time and it'll be really efficient. And now that you've racked the barrels are empty, but maybe you have lees, maybe you have tartrates. So let's go ahead and go through the same sanitation process we already did, but now we're going to be doing it post-racking. So what I like to do is get this door popped off, and then I'll get in there with a garden hose or a pressure washer, and I'll knock out that first bit of lees and tartrates, just get all the solids out. This is a great way to do it to save water and save resources, and it's really quick, and it gives you peace of mind that you got it all out of there because you can actually see into the barrel. Secondly, after you get all the lees and solids out, go ahead and go through whatever your sanitation protocol is. Is it steam and ozone? Is it a 3-phase wash? Whatever it is that you do to sanitize your stainless products, just go ahead and incorporate that in the same as you did before. And now your barrel is ready to be filled back up again if you're doing a rack and return, or if you're wanting to put this away, maybe this is for a spring bottling and the barrel is going to sit empty for the next 6 or 7 months. This is a great time to leave it for long-term storage. If you're leaving it for long-term storage, the important thing is that it is dry completely on the inside of the barrel. I would recommend that you store it upside down on the rack, not sealed. So without the cap and without the gasket. If it's completely dry, feel free to seal it up, but I still feel a lot better just leaving it open because we're gonna have to sanitize it again before we use it come fall. And here's a brief look at the staves that we currently offer at Modern Cooperage. We've got 7mm, 17mm, French oak, American oak, Hungarian oak. We do concrete, and we also do finishing staves. And for your traditional oak staves, we do everything from untoasted, if you're trying to mimic barrels with an untoasted head, all the way up to barrel char on, let's say, American oak spirit barrels. But here we have light toast, medium plus, medium long, high toast, you name it. We can go ahead and do whatever barrel profile you're looking for. We either have it or we'll get it to you. And we will be doing more videos around staves and specifically our Forest Select staves, which is the first time anybody's offered these very high-end forests specifically for winemakers. So we'll be covering more videos and going into a deeper dive on staves that are available and why it's so important for you to pick the right staves from the right forest with the right toast to get the product that you want. Thanks again for watching. We look forward to connecting soon and transforming your barrel program.